Vikings to the shield wall. I'm RP Thor. Welcome to the DragonShip, gentlemen. Today we got a fun episode. It's been a long time coming. Wish we would have done it a few weeks ago, but I'm glad we didn't, because we're going to ask a really serious question. It should have been asked before, but I think it's really important that we ask it now. So today on today's DragonShip, I want to announce a couple things. Guys, the DragonShip is a YouTube channel that's now available to everybody on Rumble, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. It's a unique platform in which we have multiple creators broadcasting to the DragonShip. In addition to what you're watching today, which is RP Thor's DragonShip, that's our flagship panel show. It's on after Rule 0, and we welcome everybody to come into the chat. Please subscribe to the DragonShip YouTube channel and watch RP Thor's DragonShip. So here I am. I'm sitting here and I'm asking the question today. You savages, what is the red pill and what is the red pill not on episode 26? I'll bring the panel members in a moment, but there's a lot of new red-pilled influencers out there. In the past couple of years, the so-called red-pilled influencers, and they've come about, and there's a rise in popularity of the red pill. Many of the truths that are found within red pill awareness, and of course, the needs of the young men who remain sexless at 1/3 of the population between 18 and 30 years of age, are quite frustrated. And this leads many of them to go to the internet in search of solving their romantic problem, so to speak. Many of these new wave red pillars, as I like to call them, jump on board the bandwagon and are just versions of the red pill TLDR, which, you know, is really too long, didn't read. Well, in this case, when the black pillars, white pillars, red pillars that jump on the bandwagon use the term TLDR, it really just means that they was too lazy and they didn't research it. So with that, it appears though the mainstream media kind of started to embrace the elements of the red pill, or at least on the surface they have. And I personally believe this is due to traditional conservatives, and the need for masculine and feminine polarity is very, very attractive to them. The red pill awareness is too much of a bitter pill, though, for them to swallow. And coming soon, we're going to be the bad guy of the tradcons, not to even mention the feminists, for which we've always been the bad guy. Now that the election cycle is done and our usefulness is starting to fade, you will see a lot of influencers starting to cast aspersions towards us. And it's going to become much more popular to do this, because it's always fun to point at a bad guy or to hate at a bad guy. And this causes many people to subscribe and watch for the entertainment value and the indignation. Indignation is great. TikTok is full of it, right? All the reaction videos, I'm indignant. Heck, it even catches me sometimes. So what we're going to do on the show today is we're going to try to clear up at least the language of the red pill, because once again, language is being changed on many of us by these influencers. I would not say creators, because they're definitely not creating, but they're influencing in that they purposely misuse the language, and they really don't understand red pill awareness. And I really don't care, except that it's good for entertainment and controversy. So let's dig into it today. I'm going to start by playing a few videos today just to illustrate the fact that even upstanding influencers are starting to turn on the red pill, because that's popular. And we're going to talk about the definitions, because they all seem to boil down and call us an ideology, a philosophy, or even a religion, or cultists, when in reality, we're a praxology. And what the heck is a praxology? We might even say we're a praxis, awareness, an awareness with reason. But we're going to actually dig into this today and kind of define what the red pill is, because it's very easy to say it's an ideology, because you want to equate ideology with ideas, right? Or you want to equate a philosophy with a way of life, or with wisdom. Is there wisdom in the red pill? No, not really. It's just an expression of facts. It's an expression of scientific findings. Most of it evolved from or came from evolutionary psychology, and the difference between men and women, and the dynamics that men and women have when they behave with intention, which you believe all behavior is intentional. So we acknowledge those facts and we're aware of them. A lot of us will prescribe actions to take that fits those findings and are quite successful at it. You know, a lot of times we're said that we do this for nothing but money. I can assure you that the money that I have received for talking on YouTube or going and speaking at seminars or webinars or conventions is about as much as a Netflix subscription per month. So it's not really for the money, guys, but it's for passing this knowledge and paying it forward so men can be men again, essentially. The men that all men want to be and that all women want. So let's get to it today. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. I'm going to introduce our dragons, and then we're going to set sail on the dragon ship. So let's bring these guys up. Let's bring up our infamous Phil Foster, Glenn Laurence, Raith Deantior, Mark Daniels. How you guys doing today, huh?
Good. Doing solid, man. Doing solid.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo. Maybe it should be ho, ho, ho. We are in December, right? Ho,
Yeah.
ho, ho.
You don't need to be. You don't need to be in December to get the ho ho hos, though, bro.
I know.
I watch it. Watch it.
You guys.
I mean, unless you want snow bunnies.
So, guys, we're going to talk about what the red pill is, right? And what it is not. So, before we get there, I think we really got to do some defining, because the language is thrown all over the place. And if you've been on social media, it's just, we're bombarded with stuff constantly. And I think we've got some really well-intentioned influencers that misunderstand even the basics. That's why I said too long didn't read or too lazy didn't research, right? So how about I play a couple little clips here? I got some clips to play just to let you guys know that the tide is starting to turn on our going mainstream. I think we're on our way out of the mainstream once again. It just seems to kind of be the natural cycle of things. So let's see if I can't share this and get your guys' comments as we start to define what are these terms: ideology, philosophy, religion, cultism, praxeology. What the hell's a praxeology, right? Let's get a shot at it. So let's add this to the stream, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the first few seconds here of a friend of ours, which is Pearl with Hafiz. See if we can get this to play. We'll wait on it for a second. I might have to refresh, guys. Bear with. Here we go.
So, my first question.
Go ahead.
Would you consider yourself red pill?
Never in a million years.
Never? Why?
Never in a million years.
Why?
I think, to me, first and foremost, I think I don't subscribe to any man-made ideology.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of these ideologies put you in a box. So I do subscribe to religion, and people can argue whether that's man-made or not. That's going to be a great conversation, great debate. A guy like Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson had a great debate about that. But in regards to man-made ideologies, I don't really subscribe to them as much. And I don't like to identify myself with something that somebody else has conjured up with their own personal opinion. And so I think in regards to the red pill, is a very interesting space, a lot of interesting characters there. And I think the biggest challenge to me is the phrase that they use is that all we're doing is trying to share the truth about fill in the blank, right? And to me, it's very, very arrogant as a human being to say I myself am the orator of the truth. I know the truth. My studies are the accurate studies. My ideas are the accurate ideas. I am the only individual who knows these things. And so to me, that ideology seems very cult-like, in my opinion. If you believe in them, they give you praise words like, oh, yo, you're red-pilled, you're an alpha male, right? And if you disagree with them, they give you the curse words, right? You are blue-pilled, you are a beta male, right?
Are you talking about like the comments section?
I'm just talking about the idea of the philosophy, right? So the people who subscribe to their worldview are red-pilled individuals, right? Their minds have been opened up to the truth, right? The people who disagree with their ideas are considered blue-pill, right? You have rejected the truth, i.e. the Matrix, right? The guy in the Matrix, he said, I want to go back in the machine, even though I know it. I want to go back in the machine. So to me, that seems very cult-like in regards to the ideology. And so there's a lot of different reasons why I don't subscribe to it. But those are the few things. I just cannot hold myself to an ideology that a certain individual or individuals are communicating without understanding the fullness of those ideas.
Yeah, because they would say it's a praxeology, not an ideology.
Yeah, it's very easy to use words like that, but
Uh-huh.
then you break down what does that mean.
Yeah. So my question to you is like, what specifically do you disagree with?
Great question. So when people say things like, okay, we're not an ideology, we're a praxeology,
Uh-huh.
right? You have to ask yourself, are you teaching any ideas?
Uh-huh.
Like, is there any principles that your belief system is teaching? Because every human being's belief system
Mhm.
teaches an ideas, right?
Ideas. Very interesting, because that's not really ideology, but that's okay. We're going to get there. I just want to preface this. We're going to get to talking about all of this stuff. So let's take a look at the next video. This one's quite a bit shorter. Here we go. This one's 45. Yeah, it looks like I got to refresh this too. Bear with me. This is CNN, guys.
I was able to get a girlfriend. For the most part, she was nice and didn't quite work out. I had, blamed myself. I'd simultaneously blamed her, and I couldn't get any guidance from my friends or my family about this. And I Googled, how do I get my girlfriend back? I was just, that distraught.
He was a regular guy with some relationship issues, but he entered a place, a frame of mind. He rejected what he was told about society.
A lot of, cults, they look for people who are in transitional periods of their lives. As soon as they see their vulnerability, they take it.
A search for dating advice can spiral into political radicalization. Was it just that you felt lonely or misunderstood?
Combination of both. That was essentially like my gateway drug into the whole concept that feminism was my enemy.
We'll get there, gentlemen. We'll get there. Okay, here we go. This is the last one. Let's see. This one goes 01. This one's interesting. This one disappointed me. A well-respected coach is slamming the red pill here. Here we go. Well, let's get her back to where it is.
None of these guys that I've seen teach anything about communication. They teach nothing about attraction. They teach nothing about courtship. They teach nothing about solving differences or solving their problems. And so what happens is you see a lot of guys that are in bad shape. Maybe they had a difficult divorce.
Okay, that's just an excerpt, but part of what he's saying is true, but he was talking about the red pill. It looks like I've had a crash there. So let me just take this out of stream. We'll get to the definitions in a minute when I get it back up. But what he was talking about there, Corey Wayne, was the red pill dating coaches, which I'm not aware of too many, but there are red pill dating coaches for sure. What your first go around, guys? Let's go around the panel and get a recognition of what you guys thought about the videos I just played, about the ideology in particular, and then let's wrap up with the guy with the fake voice, saying how bad the red pill is. Phil.
Yeah, it's just obviously he's using influence there by using the word idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not an ideology.
No, and I'll get to those definitions too in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? Is I think that's not the case at all. It's definitely not an ideology. And the second video right there, that was just a weak attempt, in my opinion, to discredit something that's good for men to understand about themselves. Mm-hmm. They mentioned what the out of shape, weak, men. And so I think that's it's inappropriate. I think the red pill is a wonderful thing if it's handed out and consumed in the right fashion. That's the problem, right? When it comes to the red pill, you got to figure out a way to navigate all the LARPers and ticks in the system, so to speak, right? There's a lot of guys hucking and jiving in here, and that's the point.
It offers something really special to the guys that are really down and don't understand how to socially interact well, particularly these days with women, or a guy that has nearly gotten zeroed out. It offers some solutions because of, the basic theory of the red pill, and that it's actually an awareness. You're acknowledging what is objective truth. Now I got these definitions up. Let's together go through these definitions, gentlemen. Let's talk about it. So I start with awareness. And the reason I start with awareness today is I just want to understand, guys. I call it red pill awareness because it's really a method to operate. Or not even a method. It's when I say awareness, just read what awareness means. And when you understand the data and the red pill theory around intersexual dynamics, it changes the way you operate because you can't unsee it. It's in front of you everywhere. A lot of men, when they first learn about this, they learn about it through trauma. And that's kind of what the CNN clip talked about. And they're claiming they're vulnerable and that they've been preyed on. And that's not the case at all. But men do get very angry because they've essentially been lied to about male-female intersexual dynamics for many, many, many decades. And in many cases, on purpose, by the very institutions that we were taught to trust. So awareness is the quality or state of being aware. Knowledge, understanding that is something happening or existing. It's a potent and heightened awareness of a problem. These are examples, so this is kind of interesting. Awareness. And let's move on. Ideology. Is it ideas or is ideology something else? So this is Merriam-Webster. And so it's a manner or the content of thinking characteristic of an individual group or culture. The integrated assertions, theories, and aims that constitute a social political program. Now, I can see that as very, very interesting because definitely the traditional conservatives wanted to adopt a lot of, the red pill principles because it served quite a purpose because of the lack of masculinity. And they do value that to some degree, for sure. And here you see is a systematic body of concepts, especially about human life or culture. Don't really see that being red pill awareness at all. And here's philosophy. Remember the old Greek philosophers that ended up morphing with the Romans into Stoicism? A lot of times Stoicism is confused with philosophy, although the Stoics essentially are a philosophy because of the way they approach it. It's not exclusively a philosophy, but definitely they started with it. Here's what it is. Here's the definition. All learning exclusive to technical precepts or practical arts. The sciences and liberal arts of exclusive medicine, law, and theory. This is out of the dictionary. It's also a 4-year college course in a majority or a major seminary. So as I go down here, it's a system of philosophical concepts. Analysis of grounds and concepts expressing fundamental beliefs. That's interesting. So the most basic beliefs, concepts, and attitudes of an individual or a group. This is how it comes out of the dictionary. So it wasn't extremely clear, so I knew there was more on this. It is a discipline comprising its core logic, aesthetics, ethics, metaphysics, and epistemology. This right here, C, when you go and you look it up further, you end up looking it up. It ends up being a philosophy, and there's core tenets inside of a philosophy, which is really interesting. And those core tenets are exactly what was put out here. And that's what the definition is most widely used when you go look at philosophy, is those tenets right there: logic, aesthetics, ethics, metaphysics, and epistemology. So that's what it is. I mean, we might want it to be something else, such as prescriptions for life, things like that. They do answer the questions of why are we here? They try to. Why, how, what, where, and when. So they do attempt at doing that. So it's interesting, but it really doesn't fit what we're doing. We're not really asking those questions in red pill awareness. So let's move along to religion. Is the red pill awareness a religion? Well, religion is defined in Merriam-Webster's as a personal set of institutionalized system of religious attitudes, beliefs, and practices. It's also the service of a worshiper God or the supernatural. I don't think red pill is supernatural. And here's why I like this definition. Because you can be red pill aware and you can hold your religion very dear and it is not in conflict in any way. You're only acknowledging the facts of human intersexual dynamics as it's been outlined in the last 20 years as data has been revealed to us in the West about how we actually operate. And most of it's been gathered from evolutionary psychology research. Okay, cult. Here's a cult. So you know that Rollo's been called a cult leader and all that sort of stuff, which is kind of ridiculous. But here you go. A religion regarded as unorthodox or spurious. Also a body of adherents. A great devotion to a person, idea, object, movement, or work, such as a film or book. Well, maybe he does have a devotion, but I don't think that it falls into a cult. So that's pretty interesting. Usually a small group of people characterized by such devotion, a system of religious beliefs and ritual. I don't think there's anything there based on that. So the next set is, we call it apraxeology. And this is my favorite definition, at least for the purposes of red pill awareness, gentlemen. Praxeology, the study of human action and conduct. Well, that's really interesting. That actually fits right in with red pill awareness, does it not? That's what we talk about every Saturday here. The study of human action and conduct. You know, Glenn just made a fantastic video where he was talking about human conduct when a young man on the internet was incorrect. And Glenn made a correction video based on his study of human action and conduct and actual evidence. That would be a praxeology. I would also venture to say that we might even be a praxis, which is action, practical, such as the exercise practice of an art or science or skill, and the practical application of theory. That brings me to the fact that there is some practical application of red pill theory, and I'll just go over a couple of them, and then we'll get right into what some of those are and talk about these definitions, gentlemen. At least in the red pill, primary red pill theory talks about men and women are different. Guys, we operate differently. Let me take this out of the stream. So we operate differently. And there's also, there's no soulmate. It's a myth. We talk about desire dynamics. How about the truth to power principle? Right, in a relationship. He who holds the most power needs the other the least. Those are just facts. Feminine reality, masculine reality. Courting and mating and solving our reproduction needs. Hypergamy, ovulatory shift. Male, female, sexual market value over time. And female mating behavior, such as alpha, beta, and contextual situations therein. So that's just kind of the basic principles of red pill awareness that we take action and practice on, and as a theory. So guys, what do you think? What do you think about those definitions? Let's get us started right into it, huh? What is the red pill? Glenn, Laurence, you did a little bit of study on this this red pill religion thing, and you came across praxeology, which is really heavily involved in economics. I think you quoted Mises, right?
Yeah. Okay, first I'd like to make sure you guys understand that if you want to get the definition in its truest sense in this area, go back to anything that Rollo ever written, where he says red pill as a praxeology when we're looking at it from the intersexual dynamics point of view. So are we talking about red pill? We're talking about it in the sense of intersexual dynamics, and that makes it a praxeology. But the difference between a praxeology and a philosophy, Mises says, where is it at? Here. Oh, psychology. Psychology deals with theories to explain why people choose certain ends or how people will act in certain settings. A praxeology, on the other hand, deals with the logical implication of the fact that people have ends and the fact that they act to achieve them. So there's an action here. You know, it's not a theory. It's not just like we're coming up with some conclusion or some rationale. No, we're saying based off of XYZ, we could deduct that when you do this, well, more than likely you will get this over a science, over practice, something that's been actively displayed. That's what it is. It's saying, look, on average, we have seen this behavior in men and women, and this is why. That's basically what it is. But people just get too deep and want to call it something that it's not because it makes them feel good.
Right, right. And that's evolutionary psychology and or psychology. So they've discovered quite a bit of those things. A good example would be when they went through the statistics of the online date. Oh, we lost Glenn. Okay. But like the online dating applications that came back when they surveyed these tens of thousands of women and asked them how many men they found attractive on these dating applications, and 100% came back as saying 80% of the men were not attractive. Now, notice they didn't say that 20% were attractive. In fact, no, they didn't do that at all. They just didn't, they gauged them as neutral, and they only gauged 4.6% as being so attractive that they would actually make the first move, which shocked a lot of people. However, I think this is probably quite normal given our history as humans, that females being the selectors had that abundance mindset and the ability to select their mates. So that would fit really well right into what we're calling a praxeology, is the acknowledgement that that is reality. As bitter as that taste might be, and we don't want to acknowledge it socially, I can't think of many women that would want to, because it makes them look uncaring when something like that's put out, because, you know, they're taught to say things like, oh, looks don't matter. But we find out now through red pill awareness and study of this praxeology is that actually looks matter much more to women than they do to men. And that's a fact. We're also discovering some really interesting things about infidelity, in that what we've been taught all along about that is that that may not be true. And that's a very bitter pill to swallow, because publicly that induces shame, or at least guilt and shame, because of our Western culture. So yeah, Glenn, that's really interesting that you use that definition and brought up psychology. I think that's really important.
Yeah, well, because I think people tend to try to throw it in psychology or philosophy, and like, because it has this umbrella as an umbrella, you know, overarching term, and that has separate practices with underneath it. But again, even if you try to do it in that sense, you're still misleading people by not giving its true definition in its, you know, true sense. Like, you can look at a boy and a man. They both fall under the umbrella of human, but if you call a boy a man, you refer to him as a man, then you're incorrect, you know, because it's not. There's a difference between the two. So you have to, when you're talking about what red pill is, in the sense of how it's being applied, you have to use the correct terminology to define it.
Yeah. Raith, you've been sitting quiet here all along. You're kind of our resident philosopher guru, which we respect very highly. What's your thoughts on all of this? Like it or leave it, you know?
Okay, and I'm going to say this, and then I'll preface what I'm saying. Okay, it's all and none. Okay, it's all based on how you, as viewing it, look at it based on your beliefs, and you're trying to comply with social constructs. It's none because it doesn't address, and what Rollo's books do and what other books are doing, it stresses, they're trying to stress what are the human behavioral instinctual drives for life, whether that's sexual or hunting. If you go all the way back to cavemen and those kind of things, there were necessary needs that were being driven by the need to survive, and those created instinctual needs and drives and inputs that we have in us. And that hasn't changed just because now we don't live in caves, we live in houses. Those instincts are still there. So what is, I don't even, you know me, I've been doing this for a few years now. I don't even talk about the red pill. I talk about how men need to understand themselves as men and follow a masculine imperative that makes them better at what they are. Okay? Men aren't successful at being women, and women aren't successful at being men. No matter what social construct you try to live under, and we prove that in this country every day, those constructs don't take in to account the instinctual needs we have, and also the biological needs that are present because we're two separate sexes. So when you look at the red pill, and when you talk about red pill, people that say it's a religion, they look at it from the standpoint that it's organized, and it's organized beliefs, and it's organized thoughts. Okay, so they can say, well, I didn't experience that well when I went to church, so that must be what it is. So I don't like it. Those people that think it's an ideology, they're in that same boat. Okay, that goes against my social constructs and the social construct narratives that are being out there that I have to live by. What I sit and tell men is find out who you are and create the authentic self that you have and what masculinity means. There are set things, if you're in a group of men, there are set things that are masculine. There are set things that men find as feminine or at least not masculine. And some of those aren't even defined as male and female. They're just defined as it goes against the values and beliefs of that group. So you can make the red pill anything you want to make it. But the reality is it's how you function within human nature and what beliefs you develop and how you exhibit those beliefs in life.
I appreciate you saying that. I think that you make a really, really good point in the fact that what happens here, because I know the history and I've been involved for a long time, and I'm going to get to my point, and then I want to bring Lauren in because the video that I watched yesterday, I want to talk about that. But red pill, you asked what the red pill is, and I'll get to that at the end of the show. But people want to use it to mark claim to the truth. And I noticed that's been evolved since, the first people to actually use this is the red pill, obviously the movie The Matrix, right? As a metaphor in many ways and in an entertaining fashion to claim the truth of existence, at least for the character Neo, right? Which made for a beautiful analogy. And then as, this seduction community was learning about evolutionary psychology and realizing how people actually operate in their behaviors, and that behaviors are intentional, which is a praxeology, they realized that it was like taking a red pill and their eyes being open to things they never saw before, because the social constructs that you mentioned about making reality what they want it to be. Everybody has their own reality distortion bubble, and they can easily associate, oh, you got a different belief system, it must be a religion, it must be a philosophy, even if it's not. The church back in the day, when they saw science, they hated it because they thought it was another religion and a defiance of God, right? Now, I think you make a very, very valid point, Raith. I always appreciate your wisdom on these things because, ultimately, we have to take action. And that's what I like about Praxis. It was about taking action on this evidence that's in front of us, this empirical evidence that we know of, we take action on. How we get about that, there's a lot of ways to do it, and it could be philosophic in nature, right? You could even be quite religious, and you could take action on this stuff. But
absolutely, there's a whole subsection of this red pill community that are Christians.
Yes,
okay, so there's this idiot that I had to correct not too long ago, earlier this week, you guys, and he tried to say that people that are claim that they're red pill and then claim that they're Christians is blasphemy, and I had to really hold myself back from really just ripping into him, because one, when you are a Christian, it's your belief system, it's your worldview, it's something that you hold dear, it's your convictions, right? When you adopt that with a red pill praxeology, what you're doing, as Rolo says, it's a bunch of tools. You take the tools that you could use, you put them in your tool belt.
Yes, sir.
Right? So what is wrong with taking some tools, putting them in your tool belt, and discarding some other tools? The way I look at it is like this: you could be Christian, Muslim, whatever religion you want, and still hold a red pill praxeology. just because you will take and apply the tools that you feel that do not conflict with your convictions, that does not conflict with your worldview. So, oh, this tool works. I really want this tool. Oh, that one doesn't work well with me, because of my beliefs. So I'm going to discard that one, but I'll pick this one up. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you not believe in your religion or anything. It just means that you're applying tools to fix the problem that you're addressing.
100%. And I know exactly what tool you went for and which tool I went for in that tool belt.
Yeah.
I picked the chainsaw. Glenn picked the BFG 9000.
I brought the at WMD. I'm just nuking people.
The BFG is pretty good.
Well, I think like anything, you have these practices, or it makes you aware of how women and men relate, how they relate to each other in the way of attraction and repulsion. And it's neither good nor bad, but the reason it gets a bad showing, so to speak, is because some people teach it on YouTube in a way that you can take advantage of women if you're talking from a man's point of view. And that's not at all what I believe the original intent was. It's just to make us aware of what attracts a woman, what repels a woman, how relationships, the dynamics of those work. And like anything, like a knife, you can use it to cut your food, or you can cut somebody's throat with it. The point is, how are you going to use it? And the same way with religion. If you take the Christian religion, look how many different churches there are, although they all emanate from the same book. Everyone uses that or has a different idea or how they practice that. And it's the same way with the red pill. You can use it to make a wonderful relationship, the practices, the awareness of that, or you can use it to go out and just sleep with a lot of different women and take advantage and use people, whatever you decide to do. It's just how you use it, not so much what it is in itself. If you compare it to medicine, let's say a doctor has a certain set of practices, and he knows how to operate, how to work on people and their body. Now, he doesn't understand why when he sets the bone or what causes that to heal. He really doesn't understand what does that. It's the same way with women. You can use these practices and they work. You don't understand how they work within the woman's mind, but they do work. And this is what people are making other people aware of, is these certain things and actions, which many times seem counterintuitive to what we've been raised to believe works, like being a nice guy. And we all know what happens to nice guys. Nice guys finish last, nice girls finish first with men. So it's really just an awareness of how things really are. And a lot of people want to reject it for the beliefs they've inherited and been programmed with from TV, movies, romance novels, etc. Well, actually, romance novels are probably closer to the truth, but mostly women read those.
Yeah. Listen to Mark there. That was a really good concept around the whole thing. Hats off to that for sure. It is definitely a tool set, is exactly like you said. And to further that, Mark, it's proof that it's not a philosophy. Philosophies incorporate ethics, if you noticed in the definition, which, it's kind of a blessing and a curse for red pill awareness. Ethics aren't a part of it. In fact, that's why it's stated the way it is with some of these principles. It's neither good nor bad, and accepting it can be very, very disturbing for some people because they don't want to believe that human beings are like this. I want to redirect to Laurence. Laurence gave me a video yesterday with Chris Williamson and some psychologist, and I noticed that psychology right now, particularly this one, really talked out both sides of his mouth, because I don't have the video in queue, but I'll just be general. I believe that psychology sees this red pill awareness as a very large threat to talk therapy. He wasn't a psychologist. He was actually a therapist, I believe. Did a little research, but we may come back to that with a special, because Chris definitely proclaimed, he had a written monologue that he was going through and questions. He proclaimed red pill awareness is essentially evil at its core, and essentially detrimental and actually dangerous. And so did this therapist. It was actually dangerous and would cause danger, if not harm, to young men that were made aware of it. And in that whole process, Laurent, he also brought up chore play as a way to solve the problem, which we're going to talk about in a couple episodes. Chore play and a honeydew list as a way to fix things. And I was stunned by this approach. And of course, Chris Williamson immediately agreed. This is pretty much a complete ignorance of actually how attraction and desires work within the confines of a marriage or a relationship. What are your thoughts on that video, Laurent? I mean, you sent that to me, so you're obviously taking a look at what's going on, and I think there's a rise in pointing the finger at red pill actual creators, guys that have been in this frame for a very long time. And of course, there's some slugs out there, but hey, you know what? There is in every industry. So what are your thoughts, Laurent?
Good morning. So yeah, about this video, the principle behind every propaganda is that it needs to be laced with truth to be for people to believe and swallow. It's generally an oversimplification, and then you insert the message that you want people to adhere to. So there were some truth to it, saying that a lot of people come to the red pill after a divorce, after some, or because of sexless and so on and so forth. And it gives and they describe it as something on your journey to become a more integrated man. And they also claimed about the childishness and the how should I say, the greed behind some of the red pill gurus. And to a certain extent, there's some truth to it. Like as you mentioned before, the newest people to the red pill self-proclaiming themselves to be gurus to gain some clout. So there is some fragment of truth to it. But as far as the user's manual is, like when I came to the red pill, I'm probably the latest addendum to the latest person who has joined this praxeology. But it's something that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, you froze. Did you freeze? Yes, you did. So I'll take it on. Yeah, as I watch that, it looks like your signal's bad. So anyway, what he was talking about is like the Chris Williams video, talking about these new influencers wanting to make money. I actually see Chris Williamson and his guess is exactly what they were proclaiming against in the red pill. Most of the so-called red pill influencers that have come up are essentially purple pill creators. This is the mix of the tradcon mixing in the blue pill romanticism and trying to have red pill awareness coincide with the Disney fantasy. Much like, Glenn had made his video with one of those creators that was claiming, how bad men are, and then trying to mix it in with his literal religion. I think that, what the therapist was really complaining about was that the red pill could take business from him. Are you back, Laurent? Yeah, I think he's frozen. Okay. All right, let's move along, guys. What do you guys think about the actual...
Am I with you, gentlemen?
Yeah, no. Bad signal. So, Glenn, a lot of these new creators, and you've actually kind of looked out there. I wouldn't call them creators. I don't want to do that. They're influencers. They have a substantial following, and their claim to fame, with the red pill, a lot of times they start mixing in, old blue pill stuff, and they become purple pill. And this seems to be actually quite sellable in reality. We've seen some of the stalwarts of the purple pill, like Matthew Hussey and people like that, are really just kind of selling exactly what people want to hear. And the big problem with red pill awareness is some of the stuff that we find out about ourselves, we don't want to even hear ourselves.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's like this. It's like what people tend to do is like they want to be able to take their red pill awareness, right? And then they want to then apply it back to their old blue pill life. As if like they could take this new insight and still live that fairy tale dream that they desired or that they thought they were living. And it's like you can't do that. You can't go back in time to try to fix something, okay? You can't do that. what you have to realize is once you see things from a red pill's perspective, it's just knowing. It's just knowing. So now you know how the world really operates and how it really spins. It's not flat. It's actually a sphere now. So you thought it was a flat Earth. Now you realize it's a sphere. So that it means that you can go around it. Now you approach how you deal with the Earth, the world differently. So all it is giving you the tools to understand that you can operate differently. Now, what these content creators do, like the guy you watch, you're talking about in that interview, I watched him, and I'm going to do something on him too. Don't worry, he's next on the list. But his problem is that he doesn't want to acknowledge certain factors that contribute into the red pill and what those are and how they are not like an ideology. He tries to put it out there like it's a psychology or not philosophy, but he doesn't even realize what it truly means and how it's actually utilized. And a lot of people, like some content creators that I recently dealt with, they think that they could just say half truths and then they'll take misquoted things and they'll bend it, and they'll even use religion in it. I actually even just went on this guy's page and corrected him. I was like, dude, if you're gonna reference the Bible, why don't you actually say where it's from, use the context that it's been delivered in, so people have an understanding of what you're saying. So they what they try to do is they try to mix the red pill with their purple pill dreams or blue pill dreams, so that they can have this purple pill world.
So let's explore that a little bit, Glenn. Why do you think that is? Because, for those of us that are truly red pill aware, there is a bit of rage and depression and somewhat the stages of grief hit us. And do you think that some of them don't quite get to the rage portion and they just kind of mix it with what their hopes and dreams were? Or do they get past the rage? Because we know some of the influencers just stay in the rage area, hence the black pill, the white pill, and some of the more vicious MGTOWs out there, which they have the truth, but that leans much more into the realm of a philosophy when you think about it, because they're prescribing for men and get a sex doll, which I don't have a problem with, but get a sex doll, stay away from women bad. You don't need them.
Yeah, it's really in how you approach, how you choose to interpret the information. How you choose to interpret the information really determines the outlook that you have. For instance, like if I interpret this being red pilled is like, oh, all women are bad. They're all going to cheat on me. They're not loyal. Hypergamy. If I take that, then I'm gonna have a real negative view on women and the negative view on this culture or on how we interact with each other. Or I could take the information and be like, okay, so this is an innate behavior. So I could address this behavior if I apply X, Y, Z to my approach to this, and I might have better results. Holy shit, Batman.
Yeah.
But like it's this is like how you decide to view it is really the thing. I think Raith has something to add here. Raith, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah.
So let's look at the difference between blue pill and red pill. Why do blue pill guys stay in the blue pill? Okay, because part of their belief system, they believe in equity. Okay, and they believe in indifference. Not indifference in the sense that they don't care, but they believe that there is no difference because of equity between men and women. Okay, and on a humanistic level, that's probably true. All right, because we're all humans. But it doesn't give you or take into account that one is different than the other. All right, and if you embrace equity, it's almost impossible for you to even come over to the red pill, because you're always trying to keep that balance that you've been told or been taught that you need. Now, what happens to the black pill guys? They resent that they were in that area where they were trying to experience equity and it wasn't successful for them. So there's an imbalance there too. There's an imbalance in equity and there's an imbalance in equity, in the sense that you have to look at it from a standpoint of does inequity or not being equal or being different create problems in your interactions? For the most part, most men who are in the red pill, it doesn't, because they understand that women are important to us and that we need to interact with them, and we need to find a way to do that in balance with our own masculinity. Black pill guys can't do that. And blue pill guys can't do that. Blue pill guys believe that by giving in and creating an equitable situation or equality in that relationship, that makes them the same in some sense. They don't want to be women, but in the same instance, they want to be a part of that group. Men don't necessarily need to be a part of a feminine group to survive. They need women to procreate and to have kids and to build a legacy, but they don't need women to console them for the most part. They don't need women to work for them. So there's coming to balance with those beliefs and those inequities and saying these are natural and I can function within the natural world, the instinctual world, and I can live with the inequity. The problem that most men have is they either go one way or another. They want to have total equity in their relationship, or they want to be the master of the relationship. And when they can't be the master of their relationship and figure out how to interact with or find women that are attracted to that, they decide to have sex dolls because sex dolls don't have to worry about anything.
Right.
And they're fulfilling that need to have some intimacy, even though the intimacy isn't with another human. The intimacy is with something that someone made to look like a human.
Right. So
it's not this big thing. Like when you talk about the psychologist says, oh, it's bad for boys. It's bad for boys because the APA right now says that there should be equity. And without equity, it's toxic. Okay. And that's not true. What makes it toxic is the fact that you're asking young men to be something that they're not and forcing them to understand life from a female standpoint and not allowing them to understand life from a masculine standpoint. This whole thing, this whole red pill, blue pill, and everything comes down to trying to force equality or equity in human behavior, and you can't do it. Even amongst the guys on this group, we're not all equal. Some are physically more stronger than the others. Some are more intelligent. Some have the ability to think through processes. Some don't. They work off their primal drive to conquer. But we're all together and we can all reach understanding, even if the understanding is to agree to disagree. So when you take equity out of it, and equity is a social construct, guys. It's not something that life has said it has to be this way. That's a social construct by saying all people are equal. At a human level, yes, we all have the same DNA and different projections of that DNA. But it doesn't mean we're equal.
No, we're most definitely not. Equity is not a good thing for this. Nobody's ever equal. Men and women are not equal. Life is hard and you're going to die and nobody's coming to rescue you. But that's on the bright side, gentlemen. At least we're here. We're living the dream for sure. I know that the red pill viciousness is coming. Particularly, it's always been there, for us with the left, particularly feminism. I mean, you can see it all the time. And now it's going to come for us from the right. It just happens every time after election. They buddy up to us. They want to do the red pill thing. And I think what a lot of people end up getting is just flirting with the red pill and, not realizing that the red pill is actually not much of a pill, but it's more of a suppository. And so they reject it and come after us pretty hard. So yeah, I see, Glenn, you have the video that I commented on with Mr. Williamson and the psychologist.
I need like 2 minutes. I was asking if you want me to pull that up, but I'll get it right now.
If you did have it, you could find the section where he talks about the honeydew list. It'd be worth commenting because they're really getting after the red pill and how much we're just money grubbers and realizing that I'll just tell you this. There's a preview of one of our episodes that's going to delve into this very deeply about this whole prescription of chore play that's been broadcast from it comes out of feminist circles, and it's perpetuated on all of the national media, the Oprahs, the Dr. Phils. You want a good relationship, all you need to do is do more dishes and you'll get more blowjobs, essentially. And nothing could be further from the truth, because if without that desire and without proper attraction, and Glenn, you had a really good short video where you talked about you have to maintain your attractiveness. Your maintenance of you when you started that relationship and you were in the honeymoon phase is critical, not doing chore plays. But if you want to bring that up, we can talk about that too, because that's a big tenet, that we can talk about that comes from the left. They always throw out communicate, and a lot of what we get today in the media from the blue pill is a lot of word salad. And I see a lot of that with the chore play. A lot of word salad coming out.
It makes sense logically, see, and I think it appeals to the logic of the male mind, because you think, well, if I do this, she'll do that, because that works well between men, but it doesn't work well between women. You start doing that, and women slowly but surely will lose respect for you, and they don't even know why.
Yep. In fact, if he brings up the video, that's one of the prescriptions that the therapist states as a therapist. And I've heard this before.
I have the video.
I'm
streaming. I'm going through it real quick just to see.
Yeah, no worries. They'll sit there and state to the woman, you need to come up with something a problem he can solve, and suggest he solve it. And then that ingratiates you to him. But here's the problem with that. Women don't think of it like that. When they come up with a problem for you to solve, they've already expected you to think of the problem and solve it. If they have to mention it, you're weak. And if you express your vulnerability and, honey, what problem can I solve for you? They lose respect for you.
They expect you to know before you ask them. They expect you should just know. You should just know.
This is part of it. I see you smiling because we've lived through this. This is so true. And this is part of the red pill that is a bit distasteful, because it's not that simple. You have to know, you have to do these things and live through them. It's not as simple as a checklist like this that I can just check off as a honeydew list, because if she's making you a honeydew list and you're doing everything on the honeydew list, that is not going to keep, the tingles for her at all. She's going to resent the fact that she has to make it for you.
Yeah, as a man, you should know what to do. And actually, as a man, you should know what to do. And that's what happens a lot of times. I think men forget. They forget what they were, what the woman was attracted to once they get into the relationship. And then they don't know what to do anymore because they just expect everything to play out naturally. Well, I'm married, or I'm in this relationship, so it's just supposed to happen. As where before they were actually putting out effort. So they think, as I said logically before, if I just do this, she'll do that. And it just doesn't work that way. Many things that a psychologist will tell you to do with your wife, because I've experienced that, is exactly the opposite of what's going to make her more attracted to you, and is what is going to make her more disrespectful and feel disdain for you. And they mean well, but it just doesn't work. A lot of times, the right thing to do is to do nothing, is to walk away and not say a word. And you'll gain more respect like that than you will by sitting there and trying to communicate how you feel and what you think. Because a lot of times she really doesn't care. She just wants you to know how she feels, or at least that you'll listen to her if she's being reasonable and not disrespectful. But if she's being disrespectful, you just encourage that by saying things, well, honey, I understand. I want to hear what you have to say. And it's really important to me. I care about you. Now, you think that would work, but it just doesn't work in those situations where she's already lost some respect for you. Now, I'm not saying you should be mean or rude, but you have to gain their respect back somehow. And this is what a lot of the red pill practices are.
That awareness is so counterintuitive, Mark.
There it is. It goes
counterintuitive to the blue pill thought process.
It doesn't make sense up here in your head.
And for you to even say that would be offensive to that fact, because you want to believe something so bad that you have cognitive blindness to everything else. And that's in fact in stuff that actually works,
It goes against our logical mind.
Okay, Glenn's got it. Here it is. This is modern wisdom. Glenn, go ahead and take the
make a marriage
controls.
as
And walk us through.
awesome, as easy as possible. Because, you know, end of the day, that's kind of what men would like. We've still got other shit that we want to try and do. The you know, the goals in the gym, or the sport team that we play on a weekend, or the bike that we're obsessively fixing when we get home from work. Being able to do, okay, how do I make the marriage as easy and comfortable, and also because you care about the partner and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Yeah, man, that would be someone out there should create a branch off of Red Pill that is about married men becoming better married men. And the same for women as well, you know, understanding evolutionary psychology and not.
Did he not look into like the married red pill? Like, does Ryan Stone not get enough credit or what?
Well, Glenn, this is the TLDR again.
Yeah.
Too lazy, didn't research. The red pill is all about this right here.
I know,
Philip
and it's
Mossy,
funny.
married more than 25 years. Red pill Thor, more than 30. Guys,
It's like they just listen to like the most like most triggering clips on the internet, like probably from something from Fresh and Fit or Andrew Tate, and they're like, oh, that's all the red pill. Like, man, they just make themselves look so stupid if they don't actually do any research.
and you know what? I actually acknowledge and love those guys, because what they actually do was actually very brilliant, because they use the actual truths of the red pill that have those jagged edges that they know are going to trigger, because they don't want to accept it if they're feminist, you know, thought processes that are conditioned in there. And that's how they get that controversy. And of course, then they get eyeballs.
Yeah, I'm going to continue it real quick. Okay. Thor?
Yes.
Good. All right.
Just this tribal hatred. What's happening, people? If you enjoyed that, then press here.
Never
for
mind.
the full.
Never mind. Okay.
End of the day.
Anyways,
it's okay.
Well, he's basically trying to say, like, you know, when he was talking about the motorcycle, the bike that you're working on, is like guys tend to be more focused on doing those things and, you know, getting involved with their.
Okay, so we lost Glenn again. I guess we're not going to get to see that video. We'll have to queue it up. Maybe Randall can queue it up for us. I would really like to take a look at the part where the psychologist talks about the honeydew list, because he talks about that as being an extreme tenet of old school relationships. And I disagree completely. That's just a repackaged chore play for which most marriage therapists advocate. And it's generally exactly the wrong thing they need to do. They actually need to start working with folks on how to maintain their attractiveness so that the desire gets rekindled in those relationships. And that's really the success path. And it's a harder success path than pretending that it's a communication. Usually communication's broke down by that point. And if she's writing you a honeydew list, it's a real problem. Glenn, you're back, but we lost the video. We needed to get to the honeydew part.
Yeah.
Randall, it's in the telegram that Laurence sent. See if you can find that one, and we'll get back to it if we lost it from on Glenn's side.
Can I briefly mention something about the chore play, since, you know, you mentioned that? So like I think it's funny that people and especially like when you look at psychology, you got secular psychology, and then you got, like, you know, those in the Christian world, like Christian psychology, right? And marriage counseling, and they tend to like push this whole chore play thing, right? Like if you do the dishes more, or if you like take out the trash, or, you know, you fold the laundry, that's it, somehow like that's what you should do. You should negotiate that. And I think it's really negative and really stupid for those that are Christian philosophers or Christian counselors to promote that, because the Bible's really clear about sexual or actions and interactions between men and women, especially married couples. It tells you not to do that. Okay, it says, but because of temptation to sexual immorality, each man should have his own wife. This is 1 Corinthians 7:2-4, and each woman her own husband. The husband should give his wife her conjugal rights, and likewise the wife to her husband. For the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. Likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except perhaps for an agreement for a limited time, that you devote yourself to prayer. Then come together so that Satan doesn't tempt you and you because of your lack of self-control. Basically, what he's saying is, look, if you fall for the belief system of if you live in the Christian worldview and that's the worldview and belief system you adopt, if you're a Christian counselor and a Christian psychologist, if you are recommending chore play, why are you not abiding by the Bible standard of what they should do if they're going to separate and not have sex? It should be only for time in prayer. So all this bullshit about chore play and doing the laundry is a bunch of bullshit from a biblical standpoint.
Right. We're going to get into that in a future episode. We got some really good stuff on there. I didn't expect to go there, but I sure hope we get a chance to see that video. We'll bring it up on the next episode since we lost it today, because it is really interesting. And there's so many contradictory things, but really that video is the opening salvo of what's coming our way, gentlemen, particularly with red pill awareness. Rollo states it so perfectly. That crew over there on Rule Zero, they really understand this. They've been around the block for a long time, 2 decades. Some of these guys have been around 10 years. I kind of dabbled the last 10 years, kind of a lurker, but we've seen it happen before. Trad cons will get right up to us, be ready to buddy up, and then all of a sudden we're the bad guys again. They're pointing out all the bad things that we do, and usually this time I think it's a little different because we really had a penetration into mainstream media via our very good friends at Fresh and Fit, Andrew Tate. We got the attention, and now the attention is going to spin. It's going to spin on the fact that they're going to call it philosophists, and our intent is to create radicalization. I showed the video on radicalization of the red pill. All I wanted was to go and get a date and be successful, but now I got radicalized. That comes from CNN, the Cartoon News Network. So, a lot of people we talk to may not be exposed to this, but I can tell you right here, living in Clownifornia, this is very real, and it exists every single day. If you hold these viewpoints, your livelihood is at risk. It might as well be a socialist gulag in many respects if you have thoughts that are outside of the norm. I know that people that work in Hollywood feel this all the time. Look at what just happened on Twitter with the release of the information that James Wood, famous actor, a simple tweet, I think it was something about James Madison's age as being an old white guy signing the Constitution, and he made the statement that James Madison, when he signed the Constitution, was actually 19 years old. So, and then they deleted him, they hided it up, and they ruined his career in Hollywood. So you got to be very careful if you want to have a career here in California, if you adopt these red pill awareness. But it's coming for us, and that was kind of the point I wanted to make with that video. It looks like somebody found it. I saw it pop.
Yeah, I have it up. I'm just trying to find the part where he's talking about the chore play.
Well, let's get some of the other thoughts here. Mark, you really had some good things to say. About the red pill. A lot of us found the red pill through trauma. I did not. I found mine. You could say I found it through the trauma, but it's really hard to red pill friends, that's for sure. So I see a lot of these influencers, and that's one reason why they mix in blue pill thoughts like the chore play to try to soften it so they can kind of ingratiate themselves to their friends and the popular culture. But for myself, I kind of always had these tenets, and it was really solidified for me when I started getting involved in the blogs, such as the Rational Mail and some of the other stuff like the Book of Pook. What about the rest of you guys? Everybody here has been kind of involved for many years, right?
Yeah, well, I want to say something about that. What happens is people, they're not looking for answers when everything seems to be going well. So most people come to the red pill, if you want to call it that, through trauma, because they're looking for answers, because what they were doing, what society told them to do, and I've experienced that too, wasn't working. So they're looking for answers, and they find this, and if they start doing the practices, they find out this works. But it's really difficult, because how many times have you guys heard this? She's my best friend. Now, I beg to differ on that, because I can tell my best friend anything. I can tell my best friend that I seen this hot chick downtown today, and I had to go up and talk to her, and I'd like to have sex with her. I can't come home and tell my wife that. So when people say my wife's my best friend, their best friend must not be like my best friend. I can tell them anything. So the red pill is distasteful to a lot of people, because it goes against the way really a lot of men want to be to women. We want to treat women like our best friend, but she's not our best friend. Another thing I tell guys when I counsel them is she's not your mother. She's not going to love you like your mother, so don't treat her like she's your mommy. You can't go laying everything off on her when things don't go good. I'm not saying you should not share your emotions, and that's something like Thor, you mentioned about stoicism. So many people take that as you stuff your emotions. That's not it at all. You control your emotions, and when you're in a place where you can, you express those. But there's a time and a place for everything. Glenn could tell you this. There's a place in the big book there, the black one, that says there's a time and a place for everything under the sun. A man doesn't need to come home after he lost his job and break down and cry in front of his woman and kids. That's selfish as hell. Even though he feels like that, he's got to come home and say, it's going to be okay. I got this handled, whether he feels like it or not. But they'll tell you that society today, the push is you need to be vulnerable. And as we spoke about that on another episode, vulnerable means to be open for attack. Now, why does a man want to be open for attack? I don't want to put myself open for attack to anyone. And a woman certainly doesn't want a man who goes around with his emotions on his sleeve, who is vulnerable or open for attack from anybody. How's she going to feel safe with a man like that? Contrary to what we talk about, how they're so safe in society, and we're not in the Stone Age, we're not 200 years ago. They still have that inside of them. That doesn't go away with 60 years of women's liberation. So the red pill deals with that. And I think the red pill is more relevant now in society than it's ever been because of the freedoms and and I think we all should be free and have equal opportunities. But women have this idea they don't need men, so they're much more independent. Go to a country where women still need men, it's quite different. But if all the men just quit doing everything, women would find out how quick they really need men. We need each other. We need to figure out how to get along. And the red pill practices teaches you how to get along with women and give them what they really want, not what they say they want.
Yeah, red pill awareness is definitely the tool set. And, I want to recognize Sam. Sam's a voice that I'm extremely familiar with. I must hear him 4 or 5 times a year. I've never met Sam, but Sam is the voice of the Rational Male series of books. So for many years, I've heard Sam's voice. And he says, he read it here. Rollo Tomasi wrote it. Married guys will report how sexual their wives become after they get to the gym and start shaping up after a long layoff or for the first time. Yeah, and that kind of illustrates another one of the red pill awareness facts is that women are very attracted to looks, and we're lied to and told that we're definitely not, but that's not necessarily true. Absolutely. And then somebody changed it on me. Okay, it's easy to pass this off as looking better, makes women more aroused, which is true, but underneath that is breaking of the pattern. Of course. Let's go ahead and we'll read another one from Sam, and then I got some others I want to read, guys. Improve and demonstrate your higher value in some appreciable way. And the imagination and competition anxiety returns. Well, that's absolutely true. We're gonna do some future episodes on long-term relationship principles, guys, and we're gonna use some of that stuff right out of Volume 1, and some additional stuff about competition anxiety and why it's not openly stated, but it's an underlying fact, and it's very present early in relationship, but you tend to ignore it after a while, and that's when things start to fade. This is something that's a very important part of red pill theory that we can actually see in the statistics as this fades, and that's being red pill aware will allow you to stay on top of this in a long-term relationship. It's very, very interesting. Let's see, I had a couple other ones. Justin, my friend, I did a podcast with Justin a while back. It was a good one too. Sadly, the youngins have turned RP into a cult fueled by fear of women, justified by RP truisms. They don't get women and are sour grapes about it. No game. This is today's red pill. Sadly, there's a piece of that's true, that's fueling this. A lot of it came into play exactly because of the rise of red pill truths that were being set forth in the national media, and the rise of us being kind of accepted at a certain level, and they get their first taste of the red pill. And it's fueled by, there's a lot of guys out there that learn these truths and they want to capitalize on it because it is so needed. So I'm not too sad about the sour grapes. I knew this was coming. And in many ways, I think that this is going to turn around for them. They'll either get out of it or they'll make a complaint. Others will come in, and that's fantastic for the rest of us.
Yeah, but don't you think that's somewhat success driven? They're trying to be successful at something, and if the red pill doesn't work for them, they go to find something else they can be successful to use. To have sex with women or whatever.
Yep, and popular culture is going to drive it in the media too, just like we saw with the Chris Williamson video, which we might get back to. I'm not really sure, but yeah, absolutely. Whatever's popular, and of course, you guys ever heard the term dog pile? You pile on, one guy goes down with a football and then what happens? We used to call it smear the something, it rhymes with deer, and they just all pile on. Kind of the same thing happens if a red pill guy goes down, everybody piles on, right? Dog pile.
Well, I think, we all want to be successful at whatever we're doing. And if you look across all facets of your life, I think what society teaches us today is there's the quick get rich method. There's the quick be successful with women method. There's the quick everything that you want to do in your life method. And that's just not true. I mean, you don't go out, from college or out of a tech school and become the $200,000 paid lineman or the $200,000 paid business executive. There's a learning process and there's a working process and working through that. You have to go out and build those competencies so that you can have confidence and project that confidence. The problem is no one wants to build competencies these days. They just want the success. Give me the success now, and I'll do whatever I need to get to that successful, point right now. But if you tell them, well, hey, in order to be a lineman, you're going to go through a journeyman period of 4 years. Oh, I don't want to do that. I went to school for it. I'm good. I'm the best there is. And without building those competencies, and that's what a lot of young men don't understand, without building competencies, you're never going to have the confidence to go out and stand alone in the field and do what has to be done.
Right. Look what Sam says here. Red pill isn't about making man hate women. That is a fact, guys. And this is what's often we're tagged with. And even people in this space will end up tagging us with it. It's about educating a man so he won't hate women for what they can never be. And I will attest to this.
I can't find it right now, Thor.
No worries. We'll get it when we get to the next episode, when we do the short play. I know where it's at. Okay?
But I do want to piggyback off of that comment. It's like, if guys are the ones that are freaking out and they're getting angry at women, they're not really understanding what the word pill means. Okay, like if you get mad at women after you are red pilled, then you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to look at yourself and realize, look, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I did these things. I did these things. I allowed these behaviors. I allowed this stuff to happen.
Right.
You have to look at yourself. If you keep on looking at her and be like, oh, she did this, she did that, then you have not really swallowed the red pill. You're choking on it. All right, you're choking on it and you need to finish swallowing it, because really what most men are upset about is they're upset about their own behavior. They're upset about that they wasted time practicing this bad behavior. And while they were using this bad behavior, that's what led to the demise of the relationship. Regardless of what she did, they realized that they facilitated a atmosphere that this bad behavior could flourish and go as well as big as it did, that end up leading them to the end of their relationship. And that's where a lot of them are angry at. I mean, I know I was there when I first took the pill, and it came to that conclusion. I was mad at women first, or my ex, I should say. But then when I realized, like, wait a minute, no, I did all this stupid stuff that everybody else tells you to do. All the happy wife, happy life bullshit. I did that too. And that's what led to it. I put her on a pedestal. Damn, I did these things.
So Glenn, when you got that realization, did it sound like this?
Yeah, like it was
Exactly.
like mind blowing. It was just like eye opening. Like, wait a minute. As much as she was wrong and what she did to cause the relationship to end, I was also wrong too by allowing bad behavior to build up, to get her to think that this type of bad behavior will go unpunished and it's appropriate.
Yeah. And
I was more mad at myself at the end of it.
Having this realization is immense. And I mean, but we went over this in depth when we talked about, the iron rules, and we talked about love, which is men and women love differently. And to come to that realization makes a lot of men very, very mad. And I want to get to a chat. I want to get to this chat from my friend, Justin. Let me get back up there because he makes a really good point.
Is that Coach Justin?
Yeah. Coach Justin. What I mean is a lot of dudes can't get women and are red pill aware. They use this knowledge to blame women. Now, we have a name for that here. It's red pill masturbators. And we have experience with red pill masturbators. All of us do, because while this is quite seductive, there is an element when you realize the truth. If you want these truths to be that toolkit for you to use, they require you to develop a skill set to use them. You just don't pull out the chainsaw and start moving it back and forth across the log. You have to learn how to prime it. You have to start that thing, and now you can chop some wood. And so I can talk about that chainsaw. I can talk about the red pill all day long. And it's kind of fun because it feeds into my ego and different bits and pieces. It's also can be used, for me to say that women are bad and they like this and they're like that. And I have this set of data that says that's how they are. And maybe I can even say it's all modern women. I'll say this about modern women. Well, it's exposed and we have open hypergamy today. We're just seeing it. I posit that it's always actually existed exactly like this, and the social norms and pressures kept it within boundaries and guidelines for us to not see it. So interesting comment. Thank you, Coach Justin.
Yeah, it's true. Like what you're saying, Thor, like the social and structure that we had before culturally did not really promote or give the freedom for women to exercise the hypergamy in the way that they do. There was things in place, that kept that from it being what it is now. Now that, that they have the freedom to do so and they feel liberated to do so, it's like, that's what they want to do. Even though they know that it's wrong, they're like, you know what, this has been withheld from us for so long. We're just going to do it no matter what. We don't care how bad it is. We just want to we're just exercising the ability to do exactly what we want when we want without any repercussions. That's exactly why it's from one extreme to the other. It's like a pendulum. When they weren't allowed to do it for so long and they wanted to exercise it, and now that they're able to do it, they're like, we're not going to be told no. And they're just like if out of all the male archetypes they could pick, they picked the frat boy.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to be the frat guy. All right. That's the male masculinity trope or character that we're going to take on. It doesn't work out for them.
Yep. Yeah, we do for sure. Hey, Laurent, let's give you a try and see what your audio is. I know you've been dying to jump in there. You had a comment written down for us on this subject, Red Pill. Can you test your audio and see if we don't freeze? Laurent, all the way from Tokyo. That signal must be a little delayed.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. So I would like to echo on what
the
idea
okay,
of
so that didn't work out too good. All right. Sorry, Laurent. It's not working. So we will move along with the show, guys. So philosophy, religion, cult, ideologues. Let's get our final thoughts in here on the red pill and what it actually is. You guys ready to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with Phil.
What's up? I don't think the red pill is anything more than a mindset. I think that a lot of guys, kind of like what, Glenn was talking about there being frat boys and everything, or in the confusion of, hey, we hate women. I don't think that's necessarily, I think women are amazing creatures. I think that most guys get stuck in that red pill Rambo phase, and they get angry. Okay. They get stuck in that anger. And that's too many guys don't know how to deal with that anger and redirect it towards themselves for allowing things to happen in the situations they're in with women. I think it's a mindset thing. I don't care what color pill you swallow. You have to be able to look in the mirror and accept what you have done, and you have been party to it, and then either A, move on and grow and learn from that, by utilizing the information that's given in the man space or the red pill space, I think that once you correct the mind and understanding that you had a big piece of responsibility, actually, as a man, you have all of the responsibility. When you tolerate poor behavior from a woman, you're giving her free rein. You just keep giving her rope, and she's going to continue to run with that rope. It's important for guys to understand that to have a meaningful relationship with girls, red pill theory states, more plates, more dates, all that good stuff. I want to have like 15 girlfriends, but that's tiring. Okay. Eventually you're going to get to the point to where you want one or two girls in your life, and that's it. So how do you get to that point? If you've been traumatized by a woman, it's because of your own actions. First and foremost, you've allowed these things to happen to you. Realizing that once you correct your mindset, the red pill thing it's a mindset thing. Correcting the mindset on how you interact with everybody. And it goes with everything, your business relationships, your interpersonal relationship, intersexual relationships. It's everything in your life. It doesn't necessarily matter. And so to kind of circle back, because kind of got moved along pretty quick, for me, the red pill, is understanding it's a willingness to learn and understand. Okay. You have to have that willingness and be ready to learn and understand the unsettling and life-changing truths. And a lot of those truths you have brought on yourself by not being a strong man. Okay. And so you need to address what it is and why you have these behaviors and why you will let women treat you the way they do. Okay. And if you're letting women run all over you, then I'm sure your business relationships are running all over you. Your family relationships are running all over you. You have zero control in your life. You have to be able to put people on notice in your realm, so to speak. And I call it the realm because it's your world, and let them know, hey, this is not going to happen. My girl understands if she raises her voice, she knows where the front door is 100%. And she's in the chat right now. You have to realize, guys, that you are willing to accept what you're willing to accept. Now, obviously, we all come to this space to get understanding and meeting. And then to circle back on a couple of other comments that we were talking about earlier, Rollo Tomasi says, girls just want you to what? They want you to get it. If you don't get it, then you don't got it. But you can develop that mindset and figure out exactly what you need to do. Avoiding the LARPers in this space is one big piece of the puzzle. Okay. There's a lot of ticks and a lot of LARPers out there that will definitely take your money and not give you the information that you need to understand what red pill theory really is. So find quality guys that are definitely leveling themselves up and moving forward and not staying stagnant. Is it a philosophy or an ideology? I don't think it's either of those. I think it's a mindset. I think it's your mind. Okay. And if you want to live in a red pill aware lifestyle, then every piece of your life is getting focused on and getting corrected. I don't necessarily think that when you carry yourself any other way, but we'll just use the word red pill aware way, then you're not to a level yet that would deem a woman to submit to you and have that meaningful relationship with her. Because let's face it, it's fun to bang chicks. It's all good and dandy, you know what I mean? But just guys, remember this one thing. And I jotted this down when they were talking earlier. I'm going to bring it up. It says this: so women control access to sex and fucking. They control that. Okay, but here's the magical piece as a man. You control access to the relationship. Okay, so you need to understand that as a man, you control what you allow in your life. If you're putting up with something from a girl in your realm, it's purely your fault. 100%.
Yes, sir, Phil.
Shall we continue?
Yes, we shall. I mean, excellent points. I like the fact that you mentioned mindset because, in reality, that was the original analogy of the movie The Matrix, is that the mind was being unplugged an objective reality was being shown, and it was dirty and nasty and not that tasteful. And that's the best part of that entire series, is those metaphors and analogies for understanding and developing a new mindset. So in many ways, when a man gets unplugged like that, definitely he becomes Neo, in essence, the one, because that's the only perspective he'll ever have.
Absolutely, he does. And that's the thing, right? So that's why I don't call it a philosophy. It's not an ideology. It's not a cult or anything like a lot of mainstream society would like assign the red pill theory. It is a mindset, and you apply it to every aspect of your life. There's so many good guys in this space, but there's a lot of bad ones too. And that's the problem with this space right now. You got guys hucking programs and this and that and this. Oh, you want a bunch of Let me tell you something about how I've had a bunch of girlfriends. They wear you down. They wear you out. Dude, I'm 49. I'm middle-aged, man. Let me tell you something. I've had 5 girlfriends at one time. It's a lot of work.
The meat hammer gets dull.
He said the meat hammer. Thor, you're crazy, man. No, but the point is this is, so what I've kind of calibrated that, and the way I look at it is I look for that quality, not the quantity anymore. It doesn't necessarily matter, like what is the interaction every time I'm around that girl? Is it great? Are we having a good time? Well, if I'm in full control of the situation and she is submissive to me and she understands exactly that I've got everything in full control because I, quote unquote, what Rollo Tomassi says, get it. I'm going to plug him there because those are his words. Read his book. That's what women want. It's not necessarily addressing, and I wanted to push back on Mark, but he's gone a little bit. I hate that his camera, petered out. But the thing is I want guys to understand that women don't necessarily care as long as you are on point and handling your business. Awesome. You want her to behave a certain way in the bedroom with you, handle your business. You want her to behave socially in social situations in your presence, handle your business. You want her to have a meaningful relationship with you when you guys are just hanging out together, handle your business. And it starts with correcting your mindset. It's not an ideology or a philosophy.
No, I'm going to double down on that, Phil. And I'll tell you why, because you see some of these influencers out there and they want to red pill the women. Guys, if you're out there, don't red pill your women. If you understand red pill theory and become red pill aware, you don't have to. Your woman becomes ride or die. She's your number one fan. Your relationship becomes effortless because you understand her drives and the interactions that you'll have and the dynamics between your masculinity and her femininity. Really, that's that simple. In fact, she doesn't really need to know and doesn't want to know. She wants you to play. Let's just play.
Yeah.
And it's about that simple, Phil. So I doubled down on that with you.
Yeah. And so, Mr. Justin, can you pull his comment up real quick, or do you want me to go ahead? Okay, yep. You got it. He says right here, he says, a man who is on point controls access to sex, controls desire, and controls the relationship, controls everything. I will agree with that to a point, but modern women tend to control sex more than men do because they are weak men. So you're absolutely correct. I'll agree with that statement right there. There's been many women I've interacted with that I haven't given them sex, dude. I don't fuck them.
Right.
Because they and that's what I wanted to push back on Mark. So I wanted to go ahead and bring this point up real quick. A man doesn't need anything from a woman. Okay. If he is on point, Mr. Justin, I agree with you 100%. I want. So I do control the desire 100%. I do control the access to sex 100%. I control the relationship 100%. I will agree with you, but most men aren't to that level yet. They haven't evolved or grown themselves in their mindset to understand how to do that. And so that is a very valid point. I think once you arrive to that point and you continue to grow, you can definitely control the access to sex. But inherently right now in this day and age, I would say 90% of men aren't to that level yet. They are being controlled by what? The women controlling access to sex.
Right.
And so I just wanted to circle back on that and the point of what Mark has said, that, men need women. We don't need women. We want them. We desire them. We enjoy them.
Yeah. And you'll catch me saying men and women are better together, but let me see here. Let me see if I could do this. All right. Phil Foster,
Yes, sir.
Your girlfriends.
Yes.
No meat hammer for you. No meat hammer for you. You okay, meat hammer.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the thing is, you know, I'm very, very clear and upfront when I deal with these girls, and I let them know precisely what I want from them. And if they, and I just sit back and watch them. I don't talk about it.
No, and you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that directness, because I'll take this moment right here. Rest in peace, Alan Roger Curry, direct game. What a direct game master.
Mode 1, baby.
Everything he has, mode 1. Ooh, say it again. The guy was a master. And if you understand anything about game, you certainly can use indirect game to get to a point where a woman will throw off an indicator of interest. And then beyond that, direct game is fucking king in my book. Now, you've got to get there. But boy, this guy really had it down. He determined how you can tell if a woman is a manipulative time waster, which will save you a ton of time. So, you know, I recommend you get out there and get Alan Roger Curry's books, Mode 1, Ooh, Say It Again, and what was it, The Rise of the Beta or something like that. Really good stuff. Easy reads too.
Yeah.
You know?
They are easy read. I got both of them on my bookshelf, and I've actually seen him speak live. He was an amazing gentleman.
Yeah, really unfortunate. Did you get to meet him personally, Phil?
I shook his hand. I mean, there was a bunch of people, you know, but to watch him speak and like lay it out there like that, you could almost see the glaze on most guys' eyes. Like they're kind of fell back like this in the chair.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad because he's here in California. We interacted in some similar circles or same circles in the past, and I just wasn't aware because I wish I would have, you know, made the effort. Anyway, that's my regret. But the guy, you know, he's a little bit younger than me. I'm not sure what he passed of, but it's a sad thing.
It's a bad year for losing guys like that. You know, we lost Kevin Samuels this year as well, man. I miss him to death, man. I miss that guy. I still haven't dealt with that.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to throw it out there, but man, when you mentioned direct game, we had to say something.
Yes, sir. He gets the plug.
ARC.
Salute to Afi in the chat, though. You guys see him dropping fireballs in there.
Hey,
what's up, Alfie?
Alfie, you got an open invite if you wanted to drop those. Jump in. He's in the Telegram. You can jump in if you want. He may not have a good connection though. So let's move along. Phil, your final thoughts, and I want to do this with everybody before I close out today. The red pill ideology, philosophy, and religion, and these guys that are slamming us right now.
Yeah. So on the slam thing, I would just say it like this. I mean, if anything, it's evolutionary psychology and economic theories. If it's anything, if we were going to call it anything like that, but it's a mindset, but I think it's evolutionary psychology. You know, and I think it's men educating men on how to level themselves up to get to a position to do what Alan Roger Curry was talking about, direct game and all that stuff. You know, the thing is getting men to understand that it doesn't matter, you know, what it is. You need to fix this. And if you're feeling pain because of a woman, it's because of what you're doing. Okay. You're allowing these behaviors. If you're feeling pain in your workplace, you're allowing these behaviors. Okay. You're allowing these people to treat you in that fashion, man. You're better than that. You're worth more than that. Your worth is so much higher than you give yourself credit for. So my final thoughts on that are that right there. I mean, it's tough to look in the mirror and navigating the hordes of LARPers in this space. So be careful who you get your information from. Okay. There's some gems out there, man. And there's also some turds. And so my final thoughts on that are, you know, fix your mindset, tolerate what you're going to tolerate and accept what you're going to accept, but understand you're in full control of that choice. That is 100% your decision, gentlemen. If you want a certain lifestyle, then go take it. Quit sitting on the sidelines. Get in the game, level yourself up, fix your mindset, and understand that they're just girls. If it's a girl issue, there's bazillions of more women out there. And see, once I came to that point in my relationships with women, I understood it's like, you know, women are going to behave a certain way because that's who they are. They're just girls. Okay. That's what they do. They do girl things. I'm a man. I'm going to do man things. I do not need a woman. I want her. I desire her. I don't need anything from her. I can do everything myself. And I want you gentlemen to understand that. If you're in a situation with a girl, whether it's a wife, significant other, girlfriend, plates, I don't care what it is. if they aren't behaving to your expectations and you're not verbalizing that directly to them, you're wasting your time. And time is finite, man. That is the most valuable asset you have. You might not wake up tomorrow. Look at Alan Roger Curry. He's gone. That's the point, guys, is, it's your time is your most finite asset, and it's going right now while we talk on this stream. And that's what I got.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Phil. Really appreciate that. And while we have you, you want to let everybody know where we can find you? I mean, I'm going to send us out with our contact.
Yeah, I can do that. So here's the deal. I got smacked on YouTube. So if you're wondering where my channel is, it's been banned. I don't know what's happened. It's been smacked. And so I'm working on getting that content back. Hopefully, if not, I will definitely start the Growthcast back, and you will see more content from Phil Foster. You can find me at philfosterfitness.com. You can find me on all social platforms at philfoster_. Bear with me on the YouTube channel. I'm working with them. The wheels turn slow. I don't know what the problem is with them, but they seem to be a little butthurt over something. I can't figure out what it is. I've got a good group of guys working with me on that, and we'll see where we can get there from here. But once again, you can find me at philfosterfitness.com and on all social platforms at philfoster_. That's, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. Okay.
Yeah. And you can also reach out to the DragonShip, our YouTube channel. Absolutely. And reach Phil, because he is here and he can stream anytime he wants on the DragonShip. He'll have his own playlist and everything. So guys, appreciate Mr. Phil Foster.
Yes, sir.
Anchor from Texas. Raith, like to run to you. Thoughts?
Well, let's see. I want to talk to the guys. If this is the first time you're watching any of this content, understand that you're going to, go through different phases of awareness as you start down the red pill. The whole thing is don't get stuck in any one phase. And you're going to experience almost grief-like experiences as you change your beliefs and, and an understanding of, human awareness, I guess is the best way to put it. As far as, what is the red pill? I just think it's an understanding of, human behavior and taking that behavior and ethically using it to your advantage. That's the best thing I can tell you about it. As far as, what Phil was saying about, do we need women? I don't think we need women, but we want to have women in our lives. And the reason we do that is because we want some type of companionship. Okay. And that's a normal activity. Doesn't mean that we want 24-hour, 365-day a year companionship, but we do want to have companionship. And, don't take this information and set up a shrine and start worshiping the information. Because, like I said, I think I posted something, knowledge can lead to understanding. And, understanding and action leads to wisdom. You can't gain an understanding of something without trying to seek wisdom and using that. So don't get stuck there like way too many people do. And understand that, and Phil's right. If you have a problem getting women, there's other things in your life that are going wrong. Because your belief system that you have towards relationships and interactions show through in every part of your life, your professional life, your personal life. It's just there. And if you're getting angry at women because of something that happened with a woman, you're at least 50% of that, if not probably more, because you allowed it to happen. You weren't aware enough to see what was coming your way because of what beliefs that you had were stopping you from seeing it. And don't blame other people for your failures, because they are your failures. If you don't take responsibility for your failures, you're never going to grow from them, because you always see yourself as a victim. And no man should walk around being the victim of his own life. So if you want to find me, I'm at Raith_Detour on all the social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I have a YouTube channel here. It's not a lot of my content on it, but that's coming soon. And I'll be in the men's group, Men Empowerment Network. I'll be lecturing in there again this year. So come in January, February timeframe. So back to you, Thor.
Thank you, Raith. We appreciate that. Of course, you can find Raith here, and his contributions are always greatly appreciated, Raith. I would like to turn it to a man of God, Glenn Laurence, for your final thoughts.
All right, so my final thoughts. What is the red pill? It's simply this: trust but verify. Rollo Tomassi talks about the medium is the message. You hear what people say, but are their actions congruent to what they say? Like when people are worried about being getting mixed signals. Well, how do you test these things? You trust the information given to you, but you verify whether or not it's accurate or not. The red pill being a praxeology really means it's a practice. And he says it's written in pencil. That means it could be erased and rewritten as time prevails, as things change. Okay, so as things change, the practice change. The one reason why Rollo talks about don't red pill women is because once you observe the action will change, the practice will change. Once observed, things will be adjusted. So what the red pill is literally, it's not a belief system. It's not a worldview. It's not a mindset to the degree of it controls your mind and dictates how you determine things. The red pill simply is this: when information is provided, are you willingly going to accept it at face value, or are you going to test the theory of it? It makes you question what is being told to you. So if you're taught, because we were all taught the happy wife, happy life works, but nobody ever really took the time to test it. We just ran with that theory and decided to become, servant leaders and try to lead that way, and we failed. Nobody practiced it instead to determine whether it's credible or not. The red pill says, hey, test this theory out, see if it's credible, see if it works. On average, it works more like this because of our innate mating strategy, because of our innate nature when it comes to intersexual dynamics. That's what it means. From a biblical standpoint, for people that think that they cannot accept red pill praxeology with the Christian worldview, you're extremely wrong in this sense, because all you're doing is applying red pill practices that, again, I would like to say this: you are applying red pill practices that does not conflict or does not affect your biblical belief system. And it's okay to do that. No, you may not be spinning a bunch of plates. You may not have 15 girlfriends like Phil Foster. That's okay. But you can apply the same principles into your marriage. All right. And one more thing, a lot of the biblical principles when it comes to men and women and involving marriage are found in the red pill. Are found right there. They're the principal values of what the Bible teaches on how relationships are supposed to be are found in the red pill. So I encourage you guys to take the time to actually research things. Don't listen to us. I mean, if you want to listen to us, that's great. We're entertaining, that's great. But anything that's informative, test our theories out. Test what we say. Do the research. Do your due diligence and go and research the information that we bring to you, and you verify whether or not it's accurate or not. But don't take anything off face value. That's all I gotta say.
Excellent, Glenn. Of course, don't take our word for it, but do buy all our stuff, okay? Because buying our stuff will actually
buy all our shit.
It'll fix everything in your life. It fixes ED. I mean, you can fix a crack in plumbing. Well,
I fixed
crack we're talking about, right?
It's like Flex Seal, man. It seals all the gaps.
Oh, let's talk about gaps, shall we? No, maybe that's too much because we got bad from YouTube boys. No gap filling.
I have no problem. Like, I don't do hit pieces, you guys. For people who think I do hit pieces, I don't do hit pieces.
No.
Me and Thor have redefined it. I do correction pieces.
You were a corrections officer, were you not?
I was a corrections officer.
So we do corrections.
I do corrections.
Exactly. Right on, Glenn. That's fantastic. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and give my final word here, and then I'll take us out with a couple of vids. Okay. Let's see here. Have it ready to go. And here we go. Gentlemen, so let's just take a moment. Take a moment to credit Rollo Tomasi's fine work over the past few decades. And let's bring awareness and understanding to this light. It's saved a lot of men from hopeless situations they found them in. And of course, by proxy, it's helped countless women's lives as they improve their lives as well by proxy, because their men became red pill aware. You guys should all buy his book and his series, The Rational Male. He's codified it for you. Now, it came from many sources. He'll be first to tell you. He didn't capitalize on this, but he certainly connected the dots to make it easier to understand, as bitter as that truth might be. So let's recap what we've gone over today. And what is the red pill? Well, it certainly is one thing. It is a movie analogy that's used to claim objective truth. We know that from the movie Matrix. It's also a meme that political parties want to claim for their own truth. For that matter, it seems to be used by anyone that wants a claim on the truth. So here's my stand on red pill. Awareness and red pill theory. You've heard the basic red pill theory, and if you missed it again, here's a brief recap of the basics. Men and women are different and love differently. There's no soulmate. The truth to power principle, desired dynamics, feminine reality, masculine reality. There is no soulmate. The truth to power principle, very important. Solving our reproduction problem, courting, mating behaviors, hypergamy, ovulatory shift, male, female, sexual market value over time, and of course, understanding a female's alpha need and beta seed. Just a few of the basics that are out there that would improve your life if you were aware of them, based on evolutionary psychology and the incredible statistics and data that's been gathered over the last 20 years alone is worth far more than 150 years of the data gathered before when it comes to human behavior. So the red pill awareness, it's a praxeology. It is definitely not an ideology, not a philosophy, not a religion. Yet you can be an ideologue and still be red pill aware. You can even be a philosopher and be red pill aware. And of course, you could be a man of God and still be red pill aware, as to our friend Andrew Tate. So, as a praxeology or a praxis, it's the practice or theory on empirically derived data and experimentation and recognition of such as the objective truth for human behavior. As painful as that might be to our social sensibilities, many posers today will continue to use the red pill as an ideology of philosophy for their own ends, coupling it with prescriptions and systems so that they can make money. And I don't really hold it against them for the hustle. Hats off to the hustle. But stop corrupting my red pill awareness for the others that might need it. Well, one thing's for certain. Thor thinks the red pill is definitely tools. And with tools, you are a tool user. And you use that tool to build what you will, or you can tear down what you will. So until next time, gentlemen, or should I say next time, you savages, skull. And I'll see you next time on the DragonShip.
If you're looking to level up your physique and you need some assistance, make sure to go to PhilFosterFitness.com. PhilFosterFitness.com is your one-stop shop for all your fitness and workout needs. Get your high-quality protein that's packed with all the essential ingredients that you need to support muscle recovery and muscle growth. And if you haven't reached your fitness goals on your current workout plan, make sure to go to PhilFosterFitness.com and book yourself a one-on-one consult today. When you book your one-on-one consult at PhilFosterFitness.com, you get a customized workout and nutrition plan that's designed specifically for you. Look, you're an individual, so a generic cookie-cutter workout plan that you found off the internet will only get you so far. So if you really want to level up and reach your goals, you need a customized workout plan that's designed specifically for you. So if you're really wanting to reach your fitness goals, why wait? Go to PhilFosterFitness.com and book yourself a consult today. If you like this video, make sure to check out the DragonShip's YouTube page, where you'll get all our latest videos, hottest clips, and live streams. And make sure to like and subscribe. And aboard the DragonShip. Let's go. And if you haven't already, join Thor's the Dragons Membership. It's a men's monthly interactive video meeting in cyberspace. This is a masculine place for men that is censorship free to increase your performance as well as converse and leverage ideas and get coaching consultations on how to handle life's issues in a modern world. This is a unique place. This is a discreet place, and it's a place for men. So what are you waiting for? Join the Dragons Membership. Link below. Make sure to get your own copy of Thor's Dominant Masculine Presence Lecture, an hour-long lecture that teaches extremely valuable, simple techniques to improve your dominant masculine presence. You will learn how easily it is to begin building the foundation of your masculine presence and make yourself into a dominant masculine man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to go after it. So what are you waiting for? Buy now if you want to learn how to become a man who isn't afraid to go after and get what he wants.